Hello and welcome back to the Finding Your Feet podcast, a podcast show dedicated to helping you get closer to your true authentic self by helping you find your feet in life. Welcome to episode 43.
Today we have an incredible duo on the show to join us, and we're so happy that we got to speak to them because there's so many amazing tips, but not only that, you will sense the incredible energy throughout this episode.
Yeah, they're an absolute bundle of joy. I love them so much. They're my fave. We are joined today by Francis Haugen, who was on episode 3. I think it was episode 3. He was the first guest we ever had on the podcast. And it was the very popular episode, which was how to create a mindset for success, which you all love. But we decided to bring him back on the show, but this time with his partner in crime, his fiancé, Stuart, because they are embarking on a really exciting journey of becoming fathers. They're going through a surrogacy process, and they've started a YouTube channel where they're basically sharing their whole process and how it works, so that to inspire other gay couples out there that they can do this too, and they can create their own babies in this way, and to just share the information about it. So we got them back on to talk about that, but also we just speak so much about like personal development stuff, mindset stuff, money mindset, positive vibes, like dreaming big, everything you love, we cover. And yeah, the energy is electric in this episode. We were grinning the whole way through. I couldn't stop laughing. They are just so much fun to talk to.
Yeah, I literally love them. I just love everything we discuss in this episode, especially like spirituality within relationships. I feel like that's not spoken about much, and how you can grow as a couple. So anyone that wants tips on that, there's lots in here.
Yeah, lots of relationship tips as well, because they have been together for 11 years and they're very in love, and it's so lovely to see. So they share some wisdom on that too.
But before we get into the episode, we're just going to start with our Apple Podcast review of the week. And this week it's a big one, so I'm going to try really hard, guys, to not mess it up.
Go on, girl, you can do it.
Grace, believe in me. Okay, so it's from Megan Natasha, and it says planting all the seeds. I've switched my daily Finding Your Feet listen from my morning commute in the car to washing the dishes on New Year's Eve. Love that. Wherever you are, Grace and Abby will brighten up your day, lift your energy, and expand all possibilities you've been telling yourself were never possible. The thing I love about these girls in the Finding Your Feet community is that they're always so keen to continue learning, going, and expanding. It oozes from them as they jump on to passionately share their discoveries and their wisdom with others. Their wonderful humour and down-to-earthness makes the golden nuggets they drop each episode super relatable and uplifting. Since I started listening to the podcast, every episode plants new seeds, a new vision, and a new belief in myself, and I'm so grateful. Can't wait to share my moonshot come true with you guys whenever that may be. Thank you, my beauties. That was like the nicest review ever.
I feel so seen right now.
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, she is a focused, dedicated finder that really understands the philosophy of this podcast, because she just summed it all up in that amazing review. Thank you, Megan. You are so fabulous.
Yeah, she's incredible. And she has her own little centre space on Instagram as well, which is lovely. So guys, go and check that out.
Yeah. But let's get into the amazing episode with Stuart and Francis. Okay, so welcome Stuart and Francis to the podcast. Francis, we are so happy to have you back, and Stuart, welcome for the first time.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We're so excited, and I'm really excited to be back.
Yeah, so for anybody who hasn't heard our episode with Francis before, it's one of our most popular episodes. You guys absolutely love it, and you still even reshare it even now, even though we did it so long ago. But you just both a ball of positivity. You are the light on Instagram. When I'm on there like every day seeing you guys' stories and your reels, it literally gives me life. You're just incredible. So we're so excited to chat to you today, because you're both obviously embarking on a very exciting new journey in your lives that we can't wait to hear about, becoming dads.
Yay! We're honestly so excited, and we love the feedback on the Instagram. It keeps us going.
Yeah, we literally love your reels, all the dancing. I'm like dancing in my seat when I'm like watching your reels. They're so good. So let's start off chatting about your new journey to becoming dads and your surrogacy journey. And you've started your YouTube channel and you're, sharing this incredible journey with the whole world. So can we have a little bit of info about like what is the process that you're currently going through and like what has it meant to you to be able to do this?
Yeah, I mean, we actually feel like the most lucky people alive right now to be alive at a time where this is possible for a couple like us. So we were actually watching a really great TV program the other day. It's called It's a Sin. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's on Channel 4, and it was talking about, it's all about AIDS. So it's nothing about having a family.
About having a family.
But what it was just like, I feel like being gay back at that time and the challenges of being gay.
It's such a different time right now.
Yeah, and not that I'm comparing what we're doing with that kind of pandemic, but we just, we decided about, was it mid last year? We've been talking about having kids for a little while, haven't we? And we've been maybe talking about it for the last few years. And we were due to get married in 2020, and then obviously the global pandemic happened. So it forced us to cancel our wedding, and we just took all our focus and energy and finances away from the wedding and decided to put it into having babies. So we decided that surrogacy was the best option for us, just because we really felt like we wanted our own biological children. And we kind of did a bit of research, but we found that the USA was the best for us, just because there's a lot of transparency. You get to really meet your egg donors. You get to find out about them.
Our main thing is that we are so girl power. Like everything we do is about having like women like owning their power. Yeah. And I felt like in other countries when we were starting to look into it, I didn't want to ever feel like I was taking advantage of anybody.
Yeah.
And so it felt the right fit to start over in America. And then we got to speak to the egg donors. It just felt so nice that we actually had some kind of like connection with these people rather than it just being a piece of paper and just kind of guessing, I suppose.
Yeah, so it's obviously it has its challenges because there'll be certain things that would be very, very different. So we probably would have been able to travel to the USA a couple of times already to help with this process, but we haven't been able to do any of that so far. So we've kind of done it all from here. We did travel to Spain, and we can talk to you about that a bit as well. We gave sperm in Spain, which was shipped over to the USA. So and where we're at right now, so we're actually at a really pivotal point. Yeah. So
it's like the train is in full swing. Yeah, it's so exciting.
And there's been lots of kind of back and forth, and choosing an egg donor. We chose an egg donor, and then they dropped out the last minute, which was so we had to find a new one. And so we're at the point now where our egg donor literally 2 days ago did the egg retrieval. So we now have 10 eggs that are officially ours and are currently growing into embryos, and hopefully we'll be able to know kind of what we've got. And then our surrogate has just been medically cleared as well. So and just a bit on the surrogacy process. So originally we had looked to do it in the USA, having a surrogate in the USA, but halfway through the process, one of our friends randomly said that she would do it for us. And I mean, when Stuart first told me, I did not take her seriously because I was like, yeah, of course. But she was dead serious. So we are now in the most amazing position where we're going to go over to the USA to get our surrogate pregnant, but our surrogate's going to be our friend. And she's going to be here in the UK.
Carry the baby in the UK,
yes.
Which is going to be so much fun.
Yeah, so we're going to be there for pregnancy as well. So we're at this really pivotal point where everything is actually come together.
Oh my God, what an amazing friend as well.
I know.
Doing that for you. Wow.
I know. Actually giving birth to.
Can you imagine giving up 9 months plus of your life?
She is a legend. She is a total legend.
Yeah. It absolutely.
Oh. I love that so much. It's so incredible how much science has evolved that there's this process now where you're basically just working in different parts of the world to bring together your own child. It's so amazing.
It's so amazing. It blows my mind.
It literally blows my mind. Whenever we talk about it, I just literally it's just incredible that we can create this and do this. And
I just think it's so funny that our future children are sat in a petri dish in San Diego. Yeah.
I love
Oh
it.
my
I think
God.
it's really refreshing as well that you've started your YouTube and you're talking about it so openly, because by you doing that, I bet there's so many other people out there that are like thinking about stuff like this, and having a platform like a YouTube channel to just share everything, like the good, the bad, and the ugly, is really refreshing, because people must have so many answers,
Yeah,
questions. Sorry.
yeah, I understood what you meant. I feel like also what we've been able to do is a few of our friends are now actually going for egg retrieval themselves, because they're getting to a like later stage in life, and so it's just started conversations, which I think is really important for them and for their
Yeah, and I
own
think
family making.
well, what we found out was when we decided we wanted to have kids in this way. Obviously, in the UK, most gay guys adopt. So surrogacy is kind of a new thing, and in America, it's much more established, and that's kind of why we wanted to really do it there. The friend doing it was just this massive curveball, which is just actually amazing. But we kind of looked online to find other people like us, and generally, I mean,
There are a few.
there are a few, but generally, what's happening in the surrogacy world, it was generally older gay guys that maybe were had a bit more life, a bit more finances behind them. But that's kind of shifting now. So you're getting much younger, kind of gay guys in their 30s that are starting families. But we just felt that with YouTube, like we wanted to be transparent, but also just have a voice for the UK gay guys out there.
Yeah.
Because the first thing I ever do whenever I'm researching anything is jump onto social media to find out if there's anyone that's like in the same position, because it's like just create that community, and it just didn't seem to be that here. So we're going to start it.
Yeah.
Love that. Can I just ask, you were saying you felt like America was the best place to do the egg retrieval process. So I obviously don't know that much about surrogacy, but if you do it in the UK, then do you not get to know much about the woman that's giving you the eggs? Is it all like transparent and known in the US but not here? Is that how it works?
So basically you can't pay for anything in the UK. So you can't pay your surrogate, and you can't pay. There's just what's the right terminology called, Francis?
It's called
commercial surrogacy.
Yeah, surrogacy.
Okay.
Surrogacy.
It's called they call it commercial surrogacy. So the UK by law don't really like commercial surrogacy because they think
They don't know, who knows what they think.
yeah.
But the thing is, when you're not paying, then you obviously don't get to see that. It's just like you'll probably see it on a piece of paper rather than having Zoom calls, making sure you like their personality, making sure you've got everything, like their backgrounds and all that kind of stuff. And that's one thing we really wanted.
Yeah.
Wow.
Especially
So amazing.
Yeah, it's literally like Tinder for the eggs.
So how are you guys getting ready to become dads? Because I saw Francis, you briefly spoke about it once on your story, and you were saying how you're kind of like, you're now thinking about how you're gonna step up and you're transforming yourself as in the coming months before your babies actually get here to become dads. And I just know that you guys are going to be the most amazing parents, because I feel like you're both just so, obviously you're both so into your like personal development, self-development, so you know all about that stuff, and I just feel like you're just gonna raise these like incredible, super confident, like full of life children, because you're so full of that, so you're just gonna give it all to them.
Oh, I really hope so.
I really hope so. But
that's our vision.
That's our vision. But obviously, I mean, like my mum always reminds me, like they will be what they want to be. They will choose who they want to be. And I think
I am such an encourager, though. So I'm going to be like encouraging them to be dancers and singers.
We really hope. My mum actually said the other day, because my brothers their wives are pregnant. And she was like, I bet your other brother will have a boy that wants to be a dancer, and you'll have the one that wants to be a footballer. I was like, yeah, that's fine. Maybe footballer and dancing. But I think I know at the beginning of the year, I definitely made a conscious decision that I felt like I'd fallen into bad habits, which I think most of us had with the kind of the time that we're living in. I found myself not being as healthy. I found myself moaning about the situation, which is not within my character.
We never moaned, and we were like sitting there moaning. I was like, "Oh my god, Francis, give it a rest."
So I think that conscious decision. I consciously am aware of these babies coming into our life, so I feel like that's been a big motivator for me. But I don't know. I suppose we're in a lucky position because it's all planned, right? So we have a date for getting pregnant and all those kind of things. Whereas if you're in a heterosexual couple, it's it'd
be more fun though.
Yeah, it would be more fun. But I just feel like I'm just aware of what's coming and just want to just be in a really good place, like mentally, financially, like physically, everything. Obviously, there's no perfection, but I want to feel good.
No, definitely. I'm literally excited for you. But you were saying there how you feel like you've kind of knuckled down and stopped moaning a bit less lately. What have you been doing differently lately to kind of improve yourself, like for the both of you compared to the other 2 lockdowns?
Drinking less alcohol.
Yeah, literally very little.
Literally none. And I feel like that's made a massive impact.
Yeah.
And also, I feel like just the decision of I'm just not allowing myself to go back there.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't that dark. Like we're talking like we were like these dark human beings. Like we're always quite a light kind of characters anyway.
But it was different to what we were. I feel like we know ourselves.
I feel like this new YouTube channel has just given me a new lease of life to go, oh my God, I've got routine, I've got schedules. I think all human beings crave that. And the uncertainty of this time is what's driving most people insane. Yeah. And I feel like we've just started to create our own certainty.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that. I feel like we did that actually, Abby, right through this podcast. It's actually been a bit of a saving grace. It's got that thing to focus on that you're in full control of, and you know exactly what's going on, and you can make the most of your time. But I'm glad that you are both feeling much better in this lockdown.
Yeah, I think awareness though is key. I think if you don't have awareness, then you're not able to know when you're moaning. But I feel like I'm so aware. Like I've been very open-minded, saying that I've even had therapy last year and into this year, which has really helped me be more aware. But as a couple, we're very, very aware. So if we're like, if we find ourselves moaning, it doesn't feel good. I think most people fall into that trap of moaning because it's more exciting to talk about what's negative than what's positive. It's easier. It's like a habit. And it's just when you have that awareness, you're like, no, this is not serving us. Let's focus on what we want.
And one of our things that we do as well, which is what I started, is like whenever I hear Francis or myself, he does it back to me now, which is just so annoying. But it's like whenever we do go down that road, it's like, what do you love? Just like reminding Francis, oh my God, let's get back on track. What is it that you?
I think I mentioned that in our last podcast, so I can't take any kind of like creative rights for that one. That's all Stuart.
Oh, I love that so much. What you were just saying there, obviously, Francis, you said you went to therapy. I love how you've been openly saying that, because people would look at you and think you are just full of positive energy all the time. And so many people think that they've got to be in such like a deep, dark place to go to therapy, when actually it's just a tool that you can use just to make yourself even better and feel even more amazing. And I love how you're being open about that, because I think people would not think that you would have needed to go, because there's this sort of like stigma attached to it, where you're like doing good work there to like let that go. And we've got like a therapy company that sponsors our podcast, and we always encourage people to go and engage in things like that. But you have evolved so much last year, like even from, because I think we did our interview at like in like the beginning of May, so it's not even been a full year, but just seeing you like transform over the year, because we were speaking in the last podcast about how much you are just starting to not give a crap what people think, and you're just fully being yourself. And I feel like you fully stuck to that, what you said, and you've just gone to a whole new level. But through that, you just show more of you, and that's what people want to see. That's what they love you for. And I think everybody in these days, like they are scared to be their authentic self, especially when they're like, you've got that bold, like amazing personality, and sometimes you feel like you need to hide it or whatever. But I just have loved watching you evolve even more in that space. And so I want to get your thoughts on that, and like how your journey's unfolded and everything.
Thank you so much for those lovely comments.
Me and
Stuart love a compliment. I think I feel like, as I've been doing, I think there's a personal development trap. I think if you're into personal development as well, and I think what therapy has allowed me to do is, because when you read a book from where you are right that second, and it can't give you that deeper insight that having someone else to bounce off would. So I always recommend, I would recommend it now to everyone. And Stuart's had therapy as well last year. I think that was kind of the thing we both did as a couple, obviously separately. But I just feel like when you're doing more personal development, right, you can fall into the trap of feeling good is the only place you need to be. and feeling positive, and you've got to be uplifting. And I am high energy and I am all those things. But what it's allowed me to do is to also to be able to accept that I have anger, or I have sadness, or I have fear, I have all these things, and not to escape those emotions, but to actually be able to understand them. And I've come to the realization basically that life is like a dance, right? So, you're not always going to feel good, but it's like you dance from moment to moment. And one philosophy, you can almost fall into this place of like an idealistic philosophy of like, this is a positive person's philosophy, is not right for every moment. And I think, Stuart, you've also had that thing of kind of, you are such a positive person. You were like, okay, I actually can sit in a different place.
Yeah, I think what you said about there's a stigma behind therapy. It's so interesting because I never thought about that like that. For me, whenever if I want to get a good body, I'll get a PT. If I want to work on my business, I'll get a business mentor. If I want to work on my mind, I just was assuming that would be the next stage that I do therapy on. So I've never really had that realization that there was a stigma behind getting help like that.
Yeah. I think Americans don't have a problem with it. It's maybe more of a
Yeah, I think that people just get their like ego in the way and think that it means that they've, I don't know,
failed or something.
That they not failed, but I don't know. There is like there's such a stigma around it with people thinking that they're like super broken or whatever if they end up having to go there. And it's not. It's so true. It's literally just like taking your mind to the gym with like a mind personal trainer, and you get so much from it. It's such a beautiful experience. So I love how you guys are openly speaking about it.
Yeah, honestly, everyone needs to go. And and I'm sure the company you use is great, but you can, I'm sure there are access to free stuff as well, but you can pay different prices as well. You just got to find the right one for you.
Yeah, that's so true. Because I know what you mean, Grace, in the sense of like, because I was thinking lately, like, I want to go to therapy, but then when you think in your head, like I was thinking, if I said to my mum, which I'm going to obviously, if I was like, Mum, I'm going to go to therapy, I feel like the first reaction would be, oh my God, what's wrong? Whereas I feel like by like talking about it, like you guys talking about it now and having it on the podcast and everything, it is breaking that stigma a little bit to it. It's not that something's wrong. It's actually that things are going actually really good and I want to actually improve my mental health and I want to just work through some things. And as well, I really liked how you're saying how you don't have to be happy all the time, because I feel like the way to kind of bring your best self is to also heal from things you need to heal. So sometimes you're not going to feel like amazing all the time because everyone's got stuff to heal. So I think that's super beautiful.
So on the topic of therapy, this is the perfect time to just introduce you to the sponsor of this podcast, the people that make this conversation possible. Our sponsor is BetterHelp. That's HELP, and they are a professional, secure online counselling service that mission is to help you start living a happier life from today.
Yes, we are so proud to be sponsored with BetterHelp. BetterHelp is a professional online counselling service, and they'll set you up with a therapist in under 48 hours. They also have a huge range of expertise, so if you're paired up with a therapist and you're not too keen, you can actually change for free.
They're also way more affordable than traditional offline counselling. Just to give you a picture of how much more affordable they are, for what I paid for my last lot of therapy for a 1 hour session is what it will cost you for a full month's session worth of sessions with BetterHelp. And they are also giving our listeners 10% off their first month of therapy. All you have to do is go to the link betterhelp.com/finding your feet. That's betterhelp.com/finding your feet. The link is in the show notes and that'll get you 10% off your first month.
Yeah, so as Grace said, it's way more affordable than your traditional offline counselling. And there are over 1 million people using BetterHelp today. So if you are curious about reviews or anything like that, you can actually head to the website, type in betterhelp.com/reviews and have a read of what the people have wrote.
Yeah, so it's all just set up online and it's available for clients all over the world. And you can just really easily set up weekly video or phone sessions with your therapist. Just log onto your account anytime and send them a message. You'll always get a really quick response from them. And like we said, you get set up with a therapist in under 2 days, which is like record time. So yeah, go to the link in our show notes if you are interested in using BetterHelp services to take charge of your own mental health and you want to get an extra discount on your first month.
So me and Grace are like going through a moment in our lives right now where we are becoming untamed and we are just like caring less and less what people think. Like we've always known that we need to be our authentic selves, but I think sometimes you have to like really remind yourself to be your authentic self and like just not care what people actually think of you. But what would your guys' advice be? Because we can clearly see that you really do just kind of do your own thing and not really care what people think.
I mean, Stuart is a much better master of not caring what people think about him.
It's a fine line, because you do want people to still embrace you and like you. Of course, it's human nature.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you've got to remember, like I always think to myself, is everything that I've said kind? Have I meant to be horrible to somebody? And if that person has an issue because of me living my best life, then that's on them rather than me. As long as I know that my intentions are always right and I always think about other people and put other people before myself, then there's no reason why you should.
And it is
worry about what people think.
It is a process. So, for instance, like let's give social media as an example. Like, I believe social media is the best place where you can put yourself out there in the most authentic, fun way. Obviously, it is a highlight reel in some senses, and that's also fine. But just putting yourself on camera one day and then do it the next day and do it the next day, you are going to care less and less and less. It's almost like a muscle. You just got to practice it, and if you're not putting yourself out there in some way every day, then it's going to feel hard.
I also think it depends on who you're spending the most time with. If you're spending the most time with the people that judge you, then they're the wrong people to empower you to be your best self. I've always surrounded myself with people that encourage me, that even if they don't necessarily believe in what I'm doing, they'll always ask me how I'm getting on. And if I didn't have that kind of support and that friendship, I definitely wouldn't be as confident as I am right now.
I really noticed that in your best friends. Like, Stuart's got these 4 best friends. They're all women, but they all do very, very different things. But every time they meet, there's just that constant support, and you have very different philosophies on your life. And I just think, we can come together and support each other. And I think if we can develop that culture more within us, that when we see someone doing well, even if it's not something we want to be doing, we just cheer them on, because I appreciate anyone, like you guys starting this podcast. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes putting yourself out there. I appreciate anyone that is willing to put themselves out there, because I know what it takes.
Yeah, I love that. It's so true. You really do need to have a really good tribe of people around you. It makes such a difference. That's why I think, Abby, we're so good working together, because whenever I'm like, should we post that or should we do that? You're like, yes, let's be untamed. Put it up there. And then I do the same for you. You do. You need those people around you just to give you that little bit of you're going to probably do what you're going to do anyway, but just to give you that little nudge, just to make you feel like, go ahead, do it.
Okay, so you guys have both built very successful businesses, and we always see you growing on Instagram, and it's really inspiring to see. What would be your advice for some building a really good work ethic, especially because I feel like at the minute with the whole coronavirus, a lot of people are starting to start their own brands, looking inward, thinking now we've actually seen how much our control can be taken away from working for big companies and stuff like that. I feel like a lot of people are taking back the control and thinking what do I authentically want to do? Do I want to build a business? So what would be your advice on that kind of business front?
It's a good question. I feel like when we started our business, we had so much guidance. And I think because we were both, you were 27, I was 23, we were just babies and no business background. So I would say kind of get an insane mentor or some amazing people around you. So whatever type of business you're in, find other people that have done it before you, are being successful. They're going to cheer you on, that can give you tips and things like that. That's essential. What would you say?
I would say I've always had this humongous vision for my life. I used to watch Cribs as a kid and be like, I want to live that life. And so that's why I went into the musical theatre career, thinking that I was going to be some kind of pop star, going into some kind of just being a god, basically, in the, famous, etc. But then I realized after 8 years in that musical theatre industry that actually, if I carried on down that road, it wasn't going to create the life that I wanted. So I then started to just be open to opportunity, open to hearing about other people, because there's always so much, especially now, there's so much around us, and it's just the most exciting time in the world that, back 100 years ago, an average person like myself wouldn't have been able to create the life that I have right now, because I would have had to get a job, I'd have had to just follow suit. Whereas I truly believe with the internet and social media, there are so many ways you can create the most unbelievable life for yourself. And I just think that if you can get excited, just start that flame by getting excited, knowing that it's coming to you, even if you haven't got the idea right now, but just knowing that something's going to come to you, just for that, and keep that big vision. That's the thing that drives me hard. And when people say, how do you stay so disciplined? It's like, I'm disciplined for the dream life that I know that I'm creating for myself, and it's the small little steps I'm taking now are leading me into that big dream life that I've absolutely got for myself. So I think holding close to that big vision for me has always kept me driving. Has always made me think, do you know what? If that person doesn't understand what I'm doing right now, they will, and just keep moving forward. So I don't ever worry about what people think about me, etc.
And you know what? I remember when Stuart first, he read The Secret. And The Secret says, don't ask for money, ask for a money-making idea. And I love that intention. But also both me and Stuart are quite different in our personality. So Stuart has that big vision, and it's like it is.
I'm like a bulldozer.
But it's absolutely amazing. Sometimes it can be really overwhelming. So for instance, on the 1st of January, his vision for our YouTube went from 0 to 1,000% within a second. And I had to like try and get up there in the first day, and that's when we had some friction. But by day 3, we were on board together.
Francis, you're being very negative.
Francis, why are you not recording every single moment of your life? You've titled the bookshelf and you've not filmed it. It was so intense, which then put me into resistance. However, what I am really good at is the more kind of breaking it down and knowing what to do daily, and kind of being that kind of person. So
as a couple, we work really well because I start with the big, like, this is where we're going. We're going to have this. We're going to do this. We're going to have this. Even with the children, I come in and right, Francis, right, we're having children. It's like, oh, are we?
Okay. Let me just get there. Give me a day and I'll be there. But yeah, so just kind of, and then the one thing I will always say about myself, we both have discipline, but I have that crazy daily discipline, and you just have to have that discipline. But you know what? One story that I really want to kind of fire from everyone's minds is there's a lot of stuff out there about kind of work yourself to the bone, like don't sleep, like. And yeah, you've got to work hard, but it's almost like putting the story out there of struggle. And why can't you just expect it to be fun? Why can't you just expect it to easy? Why can't you just expect it to flow? Because whenever I've been in the most momentum in anything that I've been doing, yes, I've been working lots, but it's felt like a breeze because I'm just like in so much flow and momentum. So expect it to easy, work hard, but have fun along the way.
Oh my God.
Wow. So much good advice. And I absolutely love that. I completely agree with you what you're saying about it, that it doesn't need to be a struggle, hustle, no sleep, and kill yourself to get there. You can have fun working hard and building a dream life. Because I think so many people think that you do have to just like literally break your back to get, you know, what you want. And obviously you've got to put in there a lot of effort, but yeah, it can be fun. So I just love everything that you guys have just said. So
we love
good.
sleep as well. Sleep is so important. You know how you can listen to like some people, and one person's like, don't get any sleep, and the next person's like, you need 8 hours sleep. I just take the advice I want to hear.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's so good. I love the dynamic of you two as well. Like you really do work so well together in your relationship. And obviously you guys have been together for 11 years. And you can just tell how in love with each other you both are. And I just feel like so many people long for a relationship like that and a love like that. So what are your like top tips for building like a nourishing, like empowering relationship, like the kind of one that you two have both created?
I think that it's through like all the work we've done ourselves has helped us like grow into like understanding each other more, because we love the same things, but we approach life very differently.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes I used to get frustrated at Francis. I was like, oh my God, come on, Francis, do this, because that's the way I see it. And Francis probably gets the same about me because I don't pick up my washing in the right way and don't fold it.
I'm not a housewife, by the way.
but like, I feel like there's some amazing books like the 5 love languages. The other book that I really Personality Plus, where you can actually understand personality types, and you go, okay, Francis is this personality type, and I'm this personality type. So, what's the best way that we can work together, bring in both of our amazing qualities in? And
we've got whole loads of things going on because obviously we are a couple, and but we also work together. So there's loads of different things we've had to work out. But I remember one thing that Stuart said right at the beginning of our relationship when he had started his business, which was, the one thing I just want us to do is grow together. And I wasn't really doing the business, and that's the one thing we did. We read the same books, and I think you need to meet on that level. But I think even I feel like in the last 6 months, a beautiful moment together where we both actually had a realization that what role we play, because Stuart might have been getting frustrated at me because I wasn't fulfilling that role, but we just accepted that you're good at that role and I'm good at this role, so let's just do those roles at the best of our ability. And I feel that was quite a beautiful moment for me. Was it for
So
you, Stuart?
beautiful, so beautiful.
I love that so much, because I really feel like you said, awareness is key, and also knowledge is power. So like, by you guys reading those books and like studying different like personality types and stuff, that is what I think like builds that really nourishing relationship, because you have put in the work to actually understand each other. I feel like a lot of people get stuck on that. Like, so many relationships could flourish into something beautiful, but when they're not very aware of like who they are or who the other person is, that's where the kind of like the hard work comes in. Because which one did I read? I don't know if you guys have read this one called Attached.
No, I never read that.
Oh, it's about attachment styles, and it's the first book I've ever read to do with like personality traits, attachment styles, and it just made so much sense. I was like, oh my god, this it helps you understand why people act the way they do, and in that way you kind of navigate around people with more compassion, I think.
Yeah,
I love the kind of the mind and like work, like, because I work with so many people. I just love like knowing how to, everybody is so different and so unique, and like working out which kind of, I don't know where I'm going with that, but
yeah, but I think going back to the whole relationship thing as well, I think we met when we were 23 and 27, I think. So we're really, really young. But I just feel like what we've done with our relationship is we lent in a bit more, we lent in a bit more, we lent in a bit more, but it always kind of felt easy. And I know not all great relationships are always easy, but I don't know, I suppose we've always focused on having so much fun. And there's one quality that I love about Stuart that I have to share with you, is that he has this, I'm going to call it childlike, but it's like a childlike view of life. And it's like light, it's fun. If he's got a hang up about something, he's forgotten about it 10 minutes later, generally. Maybe not in 2020. And that view, that, because I feel like I'm a slightly more measured person, and that philosophy in life that I've helped adopt, I just feel like it's so beautiful. And I feel like most people just live in this like, oh, I've got to be realistic. I've got to, it's just not fun. So I feel like maybe just having that fun life philosophy together, like we're always thinking about what's coming up and what we're excited about, and we do visualizations together and things like that, just having fun, because you've got to enjoy the journey.
I love that so much. I feel like so many people get into like adult life and then they start working and think, right, I certainly thought this, like, because I moved to London, started working when I was 20, and didn't go to uni or anything. I literally stopped myself from having fun. I literally thought, I'm in the working world now with loads of adults, like I need to be serious, otherwise I'm not going to get anywhere, and all this stuff. And that is just not fun. It's so boring, and it's just, yeah. So I just love that. I love that childlike sort of energy that you guys have in your life. It is very beautiful, and life is meant to be fun. You're meant to enjoy it. We're here on a spinning rock in the middle of the universe. Like, what are the chances that we're here? You just need to enjoy it and make the most of it. And you guys certainly do that. I love watching you both do that on Instagram with everything that you share.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I don't think of anything else to say.
You know what you were saying about how you, as Stuart said at the beginning of your relationship, you both said, let's grow together. Yeah. What advice would you give to people if there's like a couple where one of them is starting to grow, so like spiritually, like personal development wise, and expanding their mind and thinking bigger, and the other person isn't? What advice would you give to people in that kind of dynamic of a relationship?
I think in that situation, you've got to be really careful, because you don't want to be just like throwing it on,
or micromanaging,
or you say, oh, you're not doing this, you're not reading, you're not doing. So you just got to kind of like start the process by yourself, and then inspire the other person to take action on it as well. Mm-hmm. And that's what Francis does with me with fitness. I literally cannot be bothered to go to the gym. I just do not like lifting the same boring weight over and over again. But he's somehow inspired me to go to the gym 4 times a week. So I feel like that's what he's done for me in terms of my fitness. And then on the other sense, it's like, thinking bigger and dreaming big and all those kind of
Finances
things, finances and business and all that kind of stuff is where I've really kind of like just taken the lead and gone, if it's going to happen, it's up to me. And then Francis will follow along when he's ready. And I just knew that letting him kind of like giving him that space to feel like it was his decision rather than.
Yeah, and I think often, because we work with a lot of women, and I feel like a man's brain is different to a woman's brain. And I feel like sometimes when generally what I love about this kind of movement of spirituality and personal development is actually really being led by women, and we're always about powerful women. And I can see, like, you know, men get left behind, but you know, a man is a bit more practical, like in what I'm trying to say. A man just thinks more kind of laterally, or what is that the word? Laterally or moment to moment. And I think
I know what you mean, more like logically and strategic.
That's it. And there are certain books, like there's a book called what's it called? That person. You're just like looking at me with a blank face. Wait a second. It's coming. Joe, I'll start again. There's a book called by Joe Dispenza. I can't remember what it's called. It's amazing because it's quite scientific. So if you're
breaking the habit of being yourself.
Yes, great book. So if you're kind of maybe if you're a female listening to this and maybe you're struggling to kind of get your partner to start doing personal development, like try something like that, which is a bit more scientific. It literally talks about like atoms and things like that, and where it's maybe less kind of woo-woo in a sense and a bit more kind of logical.
Yeah, that's a really good tip, actually, to look at it from a different point. I like as well what you're saying about like how you can't really force anyone. I feel like sometimes you just have to do your own thing, and then usually the people closest to you will see the benefits anyway, and then that's when they get intrigued, and then that's why they may follow along.
And they should want to see you grow. You know, that your friends should want to see you grow, and if there is there kind of that discrepancy there, then that's a time to maybe think, okay, you know, what are these people? Are they serving me in my life? I'm not a believer in you have to cut people out.
We've lost no friends whatsoever from being our.
We love everyone, but you've got those 5-minute friends that maybe you don't want to spend as much time with. But your friends should want to see you thrive and grow, and I love that because I feel like everyone around us always just wants to see us do well.
That's cool. 5-minute friends. I've never really heard of it said like that. So I am dying to know this because obviously you can see you guys are kind of into law of attraction, and you obviously know that like your thoughts create your life. But do you think way back 11 years ago, would you say you manifested each other?
Oh, so hard. That is I have thought about that because I must have been really.
You were on a good day.
I was feeling so good to attract you. I don't know. Maybe I know when I talk about visualization and everything that I know that I created my theatre career because I wasn't sure what I was doing, but when I look back, I used to spend hours listening to musicals and visualize being on stage, and I created an amazing career. And I know that we've created this life through kind of the law of attraction, but each other, I just haven't. Have you thought about that?
No, I don't think I was necessarily, because I basically was just looking for a rich man.
That wasn't rich.
So I don't know if I was necessarily got my exact.
He's so mean.
No, I actually don't think that's one of the things. Actually, when I was like starting my business, is I was so frustrated because I felt like I had an amazing relationship. I felt like I had amazing friendships and all this stuff. I just couldn't attract or stick with keeping money in my life, and so that's one of the things I really have had to work on. And whereas everything else has come quite fluidly to me, and it's been quite easy. Mm-hmm. Whereas money has been definitely a thing where I've had to really put my focus into changing.
That's really
very interesting.
Oh, sorry, you go, Grace.
We've been thinking a lot recently about money mindset. We've both just read You Are a Badass at Making Money by. Yeah, so, and even just reading that first book, it's made me think so differently about money, and that just being like energy, and it's just a tool that you just use. Like there's so much like emotion attached to money that you can just kind of repel it against you. But so what were the kind of things that you were doing then when you were working on your money mindset? Because I think people find this so interesting, where you were saying that you couldn't seem to keep it into your life. What was it like? What books did you read? Like what did you do to turn all that around?
Have you ever read a book called The Secrets of a Millionaire Mind
No.
by T. Harv Eker? It's going to change your entire life.
Okay. I couldn't read that.
Yeah.
It's so good. I also read a few of Robert Kiyosaki's books as well. Think and Grow Rich, The Cash Flow Quadrant. He's got some amazing books.
Rich Dad,
Poor Dad. Oh, sorry, it wasn't Think and Grow Rich. It was Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Yeah, Think and Grow Rich is a classic. It's by Napoleon Hill. It's really old school, but if you read it, it's really interesting.
The thing for me is that I was brought up with parents that were so loving, so attentive, but just didn't have the thing that used to wind me up more than anything is they used to say, no, I can't afford it. I can't. There's always no because of money. And so from a very young age, I was like, I am never going to be the person that says no because I can't afford it. I'm going to say no because I'm choosing to say no rather than because money is the object. And so I've always been in a very positive way, I think, very money orientated because I want choices. I want to be able to have a life where I don't have to think, can I do this? I can think, do I want to do this? And so I've always been so driven for the life now that we are fortunate enough to lead. So in terms of like how have I developed my money mindset, I think I've always been very focused on it, and I've never seen money as a bad thing. I've always seen money as a thing that can absolutely give you everything that you want. So and I had to change a few of my affirmations that had created around. Had to change a few of my affirmations that I created around money as well, because sometimes they weren't always the most positive. So changing my affirmations, reading loads, spending time with people that had, even if it was just a little bit more money than me, just spending time with those people and listening to how they speak about money has really, just being, again, like just awareness for me is crucial.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because when you're aware, then you can fix the problem. So what when you were saying you would hang around with people that had more money than you, what were the differences that you were really noticing between yourself at that point and them? So like for somebody now who'd think, I really want to work on my money mindset, what are the kind of things that you saw were big like differences between someone who had a great money mindset versus somebody that didn't, and how they spoke about it and dealt with money?
Yeah. So the one thing I have noticed is that when you have more money, you have a certain calmness about you. And my natural being is quite sporadic, quite like all over the place. And so what I noticed is that they held themselves in a different way to what I was holding myself. So that was one of the things that I kind of was like aware of. I don't know if I've actually changed
you have
anything.
Dramatically changed. Like you are like Mr. Calm. Like
nothing phases me now.
That is the most amazing thing to see as well. I remember the first time Stuart started to kind of earn more money, and we went to Reese. And he went and bought a suit, and it was like £300. And I was like, like it was just so like it's such a pivotal moment. I remember in your life that you were like, okay, this is starting to happen. And watching you go from being a person that used to say, can I borrow money for the rent and stuff, and it switch around is just so inspiring.
That is amazing. Me and Grace were literally speaking last night about how it's sad because money is such a huge part of our lives, and some people will live their entire lives controlled by money. So I think to develop a really good mindset around money and earn it and know how to keep it and not be afraid of it is like one of the most powerful things you can do, because you're just dropping that fear that like runs a lot of people's lives.
And I think a lot of the philosophies that a lot of people have been taught, which is money is evil and all that kind of stuff. But, I would like this phrase. And of course, money isn't everything. You can be really rich and wealthy and very unhappy. And there's lots of examples of that. But you can also be really poor and really unhappy. And there are lots of examples of that. But what most people do who don't have money is they think that having money is a bad thing. And I believe you block it coming to you but really, it's the most wonderful thing. When you have more money, you can have more choice, but you can also do more. You can set up those charities. You can do the things that you want to do. It's just about changing your relationship.
I think as well that one of the things that we're super fortunate about is because we work with big teams of people. I think everybody thinks it's about money, and it definitely is. Having money does give you that freedom, but because we're working with people and feeling like we're developing people and growing, and that growth is actually right now, I crave growth now more than I crave anything else. I constantly want to make sure that I'm taking one step in front of the other every single day, and I'm like growing into more of a rounded human.
But I mean, it's quite it's interesting you say that, because also you want to be making sure, like, because I have that thing, I love progression, but then also not every day is going to feel like, or every moment that you're going to feel like you're progressing, and you have to also be okay with, not seeing that. What would you say on that, Stuart?
I don't know if that's true.
No, but you know what I mean, like,
I love
I'm not saying I love growth, but I think sometimes what happens is a certain mindset, maybe not your nice,
not my mindset. No, I've always grown.
What people can do is they put
I'm not
so much pressure on growing in every day, that then when they're not growing, or they don't see the evidence of growth one day, they feel like they're failing. And that is one of the biggest lessons I've learned, is stop looking for the evidence. Be the evidence, but you've got to believe it before you see it, and that's one of the biggest challenges, I think. Because,
and again, we will stop talking, but the one thing that I always say to Francis is that you have to see it in the mind before you can see it in the reality.
Yeah.
And Francis is always looking for reality. I want it now. I want to be able to see it. And I'm like, honey, have you been visualizing? Have you done your affirmations? Are you constantly going into that place of abundance and fun and joy? Because if you're not, then you're going into fear and lack, and that doesn't create the life that you are gagging for.
No, it's interesting though, because as a test, what overwhelms me and Stuart.
Oh my God, it's so funny.
Stuart is overwhelmed by the smallest thing. So he'll open the fridge. He cannot put
all I see is ingredients. I don't see a meal.
He cannot put it together. It doesn't make sense. He's overwhelmed and he needs to have a lie down.
I'm like, Francis, cook for me now!
Whereas I maybe get more overwhelmed with the bigger things, and he's really good at that. So it's like, just a difference in personality. But that's all good.
I love how much you balance each other out. I think that's what's so beautiful about our relationship. Yeah, just like balancing each other out.
Yeah, absolutely.
What you were saying before, Stuart, about that you've got to see it in your mind before you can then like bring it in.
Yeah.
And that's, very much the law of attraction kind of philosophy. Was this like philosophy always innate within you? Because I feel like you just literally, I don't know if emulate is the right word, you just like literally just, it's pouring out of you that is like how you see the world and live your life. Have you adopted all of that from when you like first read The Secret and then went to read all these other things and learn more about it? Or do you think you've always kind of had that like outlook on life?
I think I've always been positive, but I didn't know how to use that positivity to create what I've got right now. So definitely, I watched The Secret and I felt like, ping, I'm in control. And I love being in control. Mm-hmm. And so as soon as I got a negative thought coming through going, oh, you don't deserve that, you're not good enough, that person's better, I would then immediately go back into my mind and go, actually, that is not serving me whatsoever. Me having these kind of sabotaging thoughts, go back into my mind and go, okay, let's visualize me being the best that I can be in this situation, whatever it is. And that's a repeated habit that I do all the time. I used to also, this is so random, but before I did a show or before I do any kind of like training or speaking, I'll always step myself into like this like suit of like light. And so when I can just like a sparkly onesie that I do up over my head. And it was from one of these like, she was a friend of mine that was in the show with me that was kind of like a white witch. I don't know if that's the right word, terminology. But she was like, you do all these like little rituals. And that's one thing I really adopted. And so whenever I kind of like do anything big, I like look at my body and like, it's just like beaming with white light. And so all the kind of little things that I've learned from different people that I just kind of adopted into my own life and run with, I suppose.
Yeah, I love it. So you both obviously sound like you read loads of books. What's like your, if you can choose one, or maybe you might have to give us a couple, but what are your like both your favorite books that have been the most pivotal on your like personal development journeys that have just been like, wow, that book changed me?
I think everyone should read a book called How to Get From Where You Are to Where You Want to Be by Jack Canfield. I think it's like the easiest, quickest guide into personal development. It covers affirmations, visualizations, goals. It covers everything. It's that kind of balance between practical and also kind of more thought stuff.
And for someone like myself, I think the slight edge. So if you're a bit of a all over the place kind of character and a bit more less rigid, I think the slight edge is really good for those types of characters because it's just talking about the small, minute things that you do on a daily basis create big things.
Yeah, and I feel like then for me, when I kind of had read those few books, I kind of the kind of more spiritual stuff really speaks to me. So I really like anything by Abraham Hicks. It's a bit out there, but
you don't really like the books though. You just like listening to these.
I like listening to YouTube. But I did read The Untethered Soul as well recently. That was good. Sometimes you read a whole book, and you're like, did I take any of that in? But you know, something where you're like, something which just gives you like comfort that actually we live in a friendly universe and everything's going your way, and I like books like that.
Amazing. Me and Grace are obsessed with our reading in the minute. I'm on track. So we set a task of 30 books this year because, last year, I'm not going to lie, I didn't really read that many. So I thought I'll start with 30 this year. And I'm on track, but Grace, you're not so much.
Falling behind. But yeah, love that. I've never heard of those 2 books that you've both recommended. So I will look into those and definitely add them to my list.
Yeah, get them on.
Yeah, onto that long list.
Okay, so shall we wrap up the fabulous interview with the quote of the week? So we always end our podcast episodes with a quote of the week to inspire the listeners, and when we have a guest on, we always ask them to share their favorite quote with us. So you both might have the same one or like one each, but what is like your favorite quote, and why do you love it?
Oh gosh, good question. Are you having to think? He's going to check the library. He's going to check the books behind us. God,
I wrote such a good quote down that I just love, and I can't remember off the top of my head what it is. Hold on 1 second.
That's fine.
I'm going to read it. I'm getting some off my phone because I just love this quote. I'm going to find you.
Here's mine. Ready?
Yeah.
Obsessed is a word the lazy use to describe the dedicated.
Love that.
I love that.
Powerful.
Whipped.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah.
I'm just going to find this quote I absolutely love. 2 seconds. It's on my phone somewhere.
Where did you see that quote, Stuart?
Instagram.
I
know, I absolutely love it. Because my mum used to say to me all the time, "Oh, Stuart, you're obsessed with this. You're obsessed with it. You're like, why are you working now?" And I used to think to myself, yeah, I am probably obsessed. But now she looks at me and goes, "Oh my God, thank God you were."
I'm going to go with a really simple one. And I don't know where it's from, but it's often used, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right.
I love that as well.
Beautiful. I love using that, especially when you teach kids. They're like, I can't do it. Okay, no worries, you're right. The kid's going to hate us.
Very true. Well, I feel like you gave us so many incredible tips in that interview. I loved it so much. I've literally got a massive grin on my face.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you so much for asking us to come on.
Thanks for having us.
And we're just loving our journey right now.
Yeah. Where can everyone find you because I know they're all going to want to come follow you and they're going to want to find your YouTube channel. So where can people find you on social media and stuff?
So on YouTube, just search Stuart and Francis and you'll find us there. And then on Instagram, Stuart is Stewie Armfield.
STUEYARMFIELD.
And mine is at Francis Haugen as well.
Fab. We will also link your Instagrams and your YouTube in the show notes so everyone can find you. But thank you so much for coming on, and thank you for coming back, Francis. You both are such a joy to speak to you. I've literally been grinning this whole conversation. You're amazing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and good luck with the surrogacy. We're so excited to watch your journey unfold.
I know, this time next year.
Well, wasn't that conversation just a breath of fresh air? I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling very energetic and inspired from that. So I really hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, my favorite thing about that actually was before we even started that interview, we said to them, "How are you?" And they went, "I am fabulous." And I was like, oh my God, how refreshing. So I really hope as you listen to that, you could sense that they felt fabulous and you guys deserve to feel fabulous too.
Yeah, take some of their tips and start living your best life. But thank you everybody for listening. And if you are listening on Apple Podcasts, make sure you hit subscribe so that you never miss our episodes. We release them every Wednesday. And sometimes if we're feeling inspired, we release another episode on a Sunday, like a mini bonus episode. So make sure you subscribe on there so you never miss an episode. Follow us as well if you're listening on Spotify. Leave us a review on Apple if you want to be featured in Review of the Week at the beginning of next episode. We love hearing your thoughts and everything that you have to say about the show.
Yeah, go and leave us a review. And we've also been loving the feedback from our meditations, which launched last week. So many of you have bought them, and every morning we're like receiving little messages like, oh, I did the morning one or the evening one, and just like the manifestation one. All of them are amazing, and we're loving the feedback. So if you're interested in meditations or affirmations, which we had on the website, go and check them out. If you have any questions at all, you can just pop to us on Instagram if you're not sure which one you want to go for or something like that.
Yeah, just come and message us at Finding Your Feet Podcast on Instagram. We're always checking all our DMs. We reply to everybody. So if you have any questions, do come and chat to us on there. And if you want to start your week with some good vibes, some Monday morning inspiration, make sure you join our mailing list as well, because every Monday morning we send an email, like positive, wisdom-filled email, no annoying marketing, just like an inspirational food for thought kind of story. And it could be landing in your inbox on Monday morning. If you want to sign up, the link is in the show notes.
We have also set up a page called buymeacoffee.com where you can find us. It's called buymeacoffee.com/find your feet. And this is basically set up so you can support the creatives that you love. So if you want to support our podcast and all the work we put into it, you can go and buy us a coffee, but don't feel like you need to. But if anyone goes and does that, we are so, so grateful for every one of you.
Yeah, thank you to everybody who already bought us a coffee when we mentioned it in the last episode. We appreciate it so much. But yeah, you don't have to do it. It's just if you want to make a gesture and you get value from the content that we put out, it's just a nice way to support us so that we can keep doing this. And also, if you loved listening to this episode, but you would love to watch our podcast episodes, you can now catch them all on YouTube. All of our main Wednesday episodes are always uploaded to YouTube. The channel name is in the show notes. You can just click through the link and subscribe on there, but it's Finding Your Feet, the podcast. So you can find us on there too.
Thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.